Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Sustainable IT Budgeting webinar. The purpose of this webinar is to take the guesswork out of IT budgeting, and we're going to do it here in 9 minutes, the quick and dirty lesson. And so let's just jump right in. The first question we wanted to start this off is, what's the purpose of IT budgeting? I think this is probably more of a self-explanatory question that you probably all have answers to, and that's just understandable by you wanting to watch this webinar, but we'll share a few of our answers to this question here as well really quick. First being, purpose of IT budgeting would be to avoid the spur of the moment purchase decisions, whether that's because something's crashing or whether that's because, hey, something just came up and you need it now. All great, but we want to make sure that we're budgeting properly out so we can either avoid the crashes or that we can leave room in the budget for technology that we might need that we haven't yet budgeted for. So that's one purpose. Second being, we want to prevent technology downtime and stress. Instead of just saying, hey, we have these access points, we've had them for 8 years and we're just going to see how long we can last. Well, that's a dangerous game you're playing. You're risking downtime for your organization with your technology, and by having an IT budget, you can accurately estimate beforehand how long you should expect this technology to last and when is a good year or time to upgrade that technology. The third ties hand in hand with, hey, what's the purpose of the IT budget? Well, let's talk about the purpose of IT. We want IT to accelerate your technology and organization. By budgeting it out, we can be more effective at fulfilling that vision with your IT. Lastly, we want to protect against technology threats. We got to be aware of what assets we do have as an organization and how can we prevent against those technology threats and secure those assets that we have is a huge part of an IT budget. We want to make sure we're talking about that as well as we move forward. Few IT budgeting rules that we've come up with here. You got to know your refresh cycle. What's a refresh cycle? Well, how long do you expect each piece of technology in your organization to last before you need to get an upgrade? We'll talk about that here in a second, but it's an important rule to have to estimate as part of your IT budget. Deciding whether to lease or not, this is going to be, different organizations are going to have a different answer to this question, and that's okay. If you're leasing, you're paying the same price every year for your technology. You, on top of that, pay higher interest for the technology, but usually if you're purchasing all your technology at once, you can get some quantity discounts that offset that interest payment. Or you can not go the lease route and you can purchase your technology outright and pay for it all up front. The last is you've got to accurately estimate the cost of future purchases. This can be a tough one, and this is why it's necessary to bring in a company, technology consulting company like us, where we can accurately estimate that information for you. If you're wanting to build a 10-year technology budget, that's great. We want to help you do that, but we want to make sure we do it accurately and understand what the costs are going to look like in 8 to 10 years. So before we jump in, let's before we tell you how to get started, let's jump into the worksheet itself and kind of review this. So this is the worksheet that we've built to help organizations begin their technology budgeting. This is a fictitious school district that we've decided to display for the sake of this webinar. This worksheet and IT budgeting works for organizations, public or private sector. But for the sake of this webinar, we're going to just pretend it's a school district we're working with here. So let's just dissect this dashboard here for a second. So let's start with this table up on the top left. On the left bar, we've got the different solutions that we'll be working with. You may have solutions that you would classify in your IT budget that aren't listed here, and that's okay. We can work with it to customize it for your organization, but this is kind of just our baseline of where we want to start thinking about technology for your organization. The cost per rotation is tied into predicting the costs accurately, and the rotation schedule is how many years do you expect this technology to last. So the different check marks here will tell you whether or not we think as a company that's a realistic rotation schedule. So when you see this little yellow icon here, it says, hey, you've planned for this to be 4 years, we can maybe make that work. But realistically, we would feel more comfortable with 3 years. So you can go ahead and put that in there. Endpoints, 5 years for endpoints may seem like not a lot. Depends what endpoints you're talking about. If you're talking about Chromebooks, 5 years may be quite a bit longer. Let's do 3 years. Let's just, realistically, you're going to need to purchase new Chromebooks within the next 3 years. They're going to last you about 3 years. And then environmental control, same concept, even force a little bit too much. So let's boost that, lower that down to 3. This is a case-by-case basis. So these things will change, but this is something that you need to be aware of when you're purchasing technology and when you're creating your budget. So if you do go the leasing route, this is kind of the cost per year that will look like. And all of this cost is getting pulled from analysis that we complete on our end after your organization's completes a little bit of an audit. So you audit your technology, and then we take that audit and say, all right, this is what you've got now. This is what the gaps in your technology, and this is when you're going to need to renew your current technology, and when we believe that you should implement new technology. And so then we kind of analyze all of that data, put it together in this worksheet, and present it to you. So like I said, we start by looking at what you've got currently. So let's say you've got 1,600 students, 200 staff, and a $215,000 spend you're doing each year. That's going to be about $119 per student. So after we analyze it, we may say, hey, got the same number of students and staff. We're going to propose a little bit higher budget, and we'll talk to you about why we're going to do that. Or in many instances, we can save the company or organization money, and we'll talk through that as well. And we'll kind of show what that looks like on a cost per user basis as well. This graph here on the top right is just showing the budget by solution. The solutions listed here are all down here as well, and show you, hey, you're spending $325,000 on endpoints. Let's break that down. Why? Just kind of to compare all these, and that goes down to this graph as well, which is saying 40% of your budget's on endpoints, 17% on network, 13% on security. Those are more just high level numbers that you can analyze and be aware of, which takes us to this little table here. If you're wanting to see what's contributing to the total cost of these various solutions, let's go ahead and select networking. That's going to pull up, hey, these are the products that we've recommended for your organization. Here's the cost per unit, how many we recommend that you have in your organization, the total cost. And then it will say, $134,000 makes up about 17% of the total spend that we're pulling from here. So of all of your networking broken down on a product basis, here's what it'll look like. 45% of that's going to be this product, 42% is going to be this product, etc. So let's say you're wanting to pull out this information and think about on a year-to-year basis. That's where we've got this one, this dashboard here. So if you're going the financing option, it's going to look like this. 10 years, it's going to be spread out evenly across the 10 years, and it's going to be spending this much per year every year. If you're wanting to do the rotation schedule, this is where we can customize this. If you want to start in a different year to upgrade, that's obviously going to be customized to the organization, but we can do that as well. So this is high level overview. But if you wanted to get started doing this for your organization, it's pretty simple. We start with a 1-hour consultation, free. We then have you and together with us complete an audit of what you've got currently for technology and document that via survey. And then we take the information from that survey, analyze it, and present the results to you and begin implementation of the 10-year IT sustainability plan. So it's a simple process, it's a free process, it's very effective, and we highly recommend it. If you want in, you visit pinecc.com/contact, send us a contact form and let us know. We're eager to help you get started in your IT budgeting journey and want you to be successful in your endeavor, and we believe that we can provide a lot of value add to this process. So once again, if you are interested in getting started, visit pinecc.com/contact. Thanks for tuning in today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on our next webinar.